Midway through a packed Las Vegas show in the mid-70s, Elvis froze, his eyes locked on someone in the crowd. Not a fan, not a stranger. An old neighbor from his boyhood street in Tupelo, face lit by the stage lights, tears running down. If moments of kindness from music legends move you, don't miss the rest of this story. Stay with us. It only grows more powerful as Elvis steps off stage to meet his past. The stage lights blaze hot against his white jumpsuit, rhinestones, catching in flashes as if each beam of light was meant for him alone. It's the mid-1970s, Las Vegas, a room built for spectacle. The orchestra hits its first note, a thundering chord that rattles the chandeliers above. Fans scream, some already standing, waving handmade programs and scarves in the air. Elvis Presley grips the microphone stand. The amp hums in the background, a faint hiss beneath the roar of the crowd. The smell of perfume and cigarette smoke hangs heavy in the showroom. Ushers shuffle latecomers into velvet seats, whispering for quiet. Every eye is fixed on the man they came to see. And then movement in the fourth row. A cardboard sign lifts above the heads. The edges are bent, the black marker letters uneven but bold. From Tupelo, remember me. Elvis sees it. His voice falters, barely a half beat, but enough that the orchestra leader snaps his head up in surprise. Elvis never lost rhythm. Not like this. He forces the line out, smoothing the lyric as though nothing happened. To most of the crowd, it's invisible, but to those near the stage, something's shifted. His eyes keep darting back to the sign. His jaw tightens. His fingers tap against the mic stand, off beat. The woman holding it trembles, her hands shaking so hard the cardboard wobbles. She doesn't wave it wildly like the others. She holds it steady, desperate, as if the whole night depends on those. For words, the crowd doesn't yet understand. They clap along, they cheer, they whistle. To them, it's just another high-energy Vegas show. But ushers will later recall that Elvis missed an entire lyric. His lips moved, then stopped, before. He swallowed and looked away. He steps back from the mic, wipes sweat with the edge of his scarf. His gaze lingers again. This time, his face softens. Something personal flashes across his expression, a look fans would later describe as like he'd just seen a ghost. The band carries on. Brass blares, drums pound. Elvis nods in time. But he isn't really there. Not fully. He's split between the roaring present and something tugging him backward. Another verse comes. He starts strong, then falters again. Not a missed pitch, a missed moment. He presses a hand against the stand as if grounding himself. The spotlight dust floats around him, tiny white flecks drifting through the beam, like stars suspended. In silence, and for the briefest instant, the king of rock and roll looks small. Human whispers ripple across the nearest rows. Why is he staring at her? Who is she? Fans crane their necks, trying to see. Photographers snap, the clicks echoing faintly between notes. Elvis takes a breath, deeper this time, then pushes through the chorus. His voice steadies, commanding, but the pause lingers in the air. The tension grows, unspoken, like the room is waiting for him to act. The woman lowers her sign, presses it to her chest, and wipes her face with the back of her hand. She looks up again. Their eyes meet. Neither looks away, and then it happens, the single moment that breaks the rhythm. Of the entire night, Elvis misses a full line. The words vanish into silence. The crowd hushes, confused. The band glances at one another, still playing, uncertain whether to stop in a career built on never missing a beat Elvis Presley has just missed one, and everyone can feel the weight of it. Will he stop the show for her, or carry on and pretend nothing happened? The band holds the rhythm steady, but Elvis isn't listening. His eyes are locked on the fourth row, where the woman clutches her sign to her chest. For a second, the stage lights blur, turning the packed showroom into nothing but a tunnel, her face at the end of it. The king of rock and roll, mid-song, is pulled backward into time. Elvis sees her not as she is now, with grey streaks in her hair and lines around her eyes, but as she was years ago, 2 houses down from the Presley shack in Tupelo. A small neighborhood where screen doors slammed in the summer heat and children chased each other barefoot through the red clay dust. The memory forms sharp and fast. He's a skinny boy, sitting on a porch step with a hand-me-down guitar. She walks by carrying 2 paper cups of lemonade, setting one down next to him. "You'll play for the whole world someday," she once teased, while he strummed a tune clumsy and half-formed. That was decades ago. But tonight, that same voice echoes in his head, back in Vegas. The showroom air smells of sweat, perfume, and the faint tank of liquor poured at the back bar. The chandeliers gleam overhead, yet Elvis feels the Mississippi night humid air thick, with cicadas, neighbors laughing from porches, and his mother's gentle call for him to come inside. He grips the edge of his scarf now, twisting the fabric until his knuckles turn white. His face tilts upward, blinking hard against the sting of memory dot on the sidelines. A stagehand gestures urgently. "Keep going, don't stop. This is Vegas. Timing is everything." Elvis nods once, but doesn't obey. He raises his hand to the band. "Hold up." The command slices through the music. Trumpets trail off. The drums fall silent. The crowd murmurs, restless. Some cheer, thinking it's part of the act. Others lean forward, sensing something unscripted. The woman lowers her sign into her lap, almost embarrassed, as if she's drawn too much attention. She shakes her head, mouthing, "No, don't." But Elvis doesn't break eye contact. The arena is filled with silence. Now the kind of silence that feels heavy, almost sacred. 1,000 people holding their breath, waiting for him to speak. Elvis takes a step toward the edge of the stage. The wooden boards creak faintly under his boots, a sound swallowed by the hush. He doesn't take the microphone stand with him. He doesn't need it. His voice, raw and low, carries. "Darlin', I know you." The words hang in the air. Cameras flash. Fans gasp. A woman in the balcony presses her hands to her mouth. The neighbor freezes, tears spilling faster. She nods, almost imperceptibly. Elvis straightens, scanning her face again as if to confirm he isn't mistaken. Then his features soften into a boyish half-smile, the kind his closest friends knew well. The crowd erupts in whispers. Who is she? Why is Elvis stopping? Theories ripple through the room. Some fans stand, craning their necks, while ushers scramble to keep order. And yet, for Elvis, the noise doesn't exist. He sees only her, and with her his own past. The dirt roads of Tupelo, a porch swing creaking at dusk. A boy with no money, no fame, only a dream and a guitar. He feels his throat tighten. Fame has built walls around him, but here, suddenly, one has crumbled. The orchestra leader waits for a cue that doesn't come. Elvis waves again for silence, a firm hand slicing the air. He points toward her. Every spotlight in the room pivots as if obeying the gesture. The beam lands squarely on her, washing her in blinding white. She shields her eyes but doesn't look away. Elvis takes another step forward. The crowd falls even quieter, sensing the break in routine. This isn't Vegas showmanship. This is something else. And then, with his voice steady, he says, "Y'all, give her a hand. She's from back home." The room bursts into applause, confused but thunderous. The woman shakes her head, overwhelmed. Elvis doesn't move back to the mic. Instead, he starts walking. The band has gone silent. Elvis Presley is stepping down from the stage. The first step down from the stage makes the crowd erupt. Security bolts upright, 2 guards moving fast toward the front row. But Elvis lifts his hand, palms steady, signaling them back. They freeze. No one moves unless he allows it, for the first time in years. Elvis Presley abandons the stage to face someone from his past. Fans scream his name, stretching arms toward him, but Elvis isn't looking left or right. He keeps his eyes fixed on the woman with the sign. Every camera in the room flashes, the white bursts blinding against the haze of cigarette smoke. His boots strike the carpeted steps, one heavy thud after another. The sound system hums awkwardly in the silence, amps buzzing with no voice to fill. Then the 4th row leans forward. People press into each other, whispering furiously, "Who is she? What's happening?" A man in the row behind shouts, "Sing, Elvis." But no one joins him. Elvis reaches the aisle. The spotlight follows, chasing him like a loyal dog. He walks slowly, every step weighted, until he's standing right in front of her. She clutches her purse against her lap, trembling. The sign lies crumpled at her feet. Elvis bends down, knees cracking softly as he lowers himself until their faces nearly meet. The whole showroom stills. 1,000 breaths held in unison. "I know you," he says, 3 words, low, raspy, carrying more power than any lyric he sung that night. Her lips part, but no sound comes at first. Finally, she whispers, voice quivering, "You were just a boy with a guitar." Elvis blinks. Hard. For a second, his eyes glisten. He nods once, deeply. The crowd gasps. This isn't staged. This is history happening by accident. She reaches out a trembling hand, unsure. Elvis takes it without hesitation. His fingers close gently around hers. Fans near the front burst into tears, some covering their mouths. "You believed in me back then," Elvis says, his voice breaking slightly. "Didn't you?" The woman nods again, tears streaming freely now. "Always did." The noise of the showroom becomes a wall murmurs, sniffles, camera clicks, the squeak of leather seats as fans shift closer. But inside that circle of light, it's only the 2 of them. Elvis doesn't let go of her hand. He pulls it to his chest, pressing it against the white rhinestones of his jumpsuit. His heart pounds beneath, fast and heavy. A man in the balcony calls out, "We love you, Elvis." The cry echoes, but Elvis doesn't react. He's locked in the moment, not with the thousands, but with one. She shakes her head, still overwhelmed. "I never thought you'd remember." Elvis leans closer. His reply is almost inaudible, but the first rows catch it. "How could I forget?" Tears slide down his cheek, catching in the stage light. He doesn't wipe them away. He lets them fall. The cameras flash again, capturing an image that will live far longer than the night. Elvis Presley, kneeling in front of a woman from his past, hand pressed to hers, tears visible. The crowd, sensing the rawness, falls quieter still. Some are crying without knowing why. Elvis inhales slowly, then releases a shaky laugh, part nerves, part relief. "Darlin', you came all this way." His voice trails off. He squeezes her hand once more, then pulls her into an embrace. The hug lasts longer than any note he could hold. He presses his cheek against hers, eyes closed as though anchoring. Himself to a memory only they share. Fans leap to their feet. Applause crashes like thunder, rising and falling in waves. People sob openly, hugging strangers beside them. Security hovers nervously, unsure whether to intervene, but Elvis waves them off with a subtle shake of his head. When he finally pulls back, his face is streaked with tears. He looks at her again, steady, and whispers, "You'll always be family." Her reply is lost in the roar of the room, but the look on her face says it all. Disbelief, gratitude, love. Instead of returning to the stage, Elvis makes a choice, no. Unexpected he stays, still kneeling before her, as if the show itself no longer matters. The band waits, frozen, instruments in hand. The audience is on their feet, roaring, then falling quiet again as Elvis still doesn't move. He remains kneeling, her hand in his, ignoring the stage, ignoring the cues. Mini-hook. Instead of walking away, Elvis makes the impossible choice, to turn a Vegas spectacle into a living room memory. He finally stands, pulling her gently up with him. Security flinches but holds back. "Bring me a chair," Elvis calls, his voice steady but soft. A stagehand scrambles, hauling a padded chair down the aisle. Elvis takes it, sets it facing her, and motions for her to sit. She hesitates, then lowers herself, clutching his scarf in her lap. Elvis sits across from her, eye to eye. 2 chairs forming a tiny porch in the middle of a Las Vegas showroom. He doesn't let go of her hand. His thumb brushes across her knuckles, slow and steady. The bandleader waits for direction. Elvis turns his head and gives a nod. The orchestra swells, but this time the sound is gentle, almost fragile. The opening chords of "Love Me Tender." The audience gasps. Some clap, then hush themselves, not wanting to break the spell. Elvis begins to sing. His voice is low, intimate, as if he's singing not to thousands, but to her alone. "Love me tender, love me sweet." Each word carries weight, vibrating through the hushed air. The neighbor closes her eyes, swaying slightly. Her lips begin to move. The mic doesn't catch her voice at first, but those near enough hear it. Faint, trembling, but clear. Elvis leans in closer, holding the mic between them. Now the whole room can hear the duet, her fragile voice alongside his, weaving together into something raw and unforgettable. Fans sob openly. Couples hold hands. Strangers embrace. For a few minutes, the showroom doesn't feel like Vegas at all. It feels like a Mississippi porch swing creaking under the weight of summer. A boy with a guitar and a neighbor who believed. The cameras flash non-stop, but Elvis doesn't seem to notice. His eyes stay locked on hers, voice carrying steady and sure. "You have made my life complete." He pauses, letting her finish. "And I love you so." The crowd explodes into applause, but Elvis lifts a hand, calming them back into silence. He isn't done. He leans closer, face inches from hers, and whispers something only she hears. Witnesses later said she gasped, then clutched the scarf tighter against her chest. The orchestra fades, one final chord ringing out, then silence again. Elvis still hasn't moved. He reaches out, pulls the scarf from around his neck, and gently places it in her hands. "You keep this," he says quietly. "Always." The room thunders with applause, but she doesn't look at the crowd. She looks only at him, nodding, her tears catching the light. Elvis turns back to the stage, finally rising, but before he leaves her side, he bends once more and presses his forehead gently to hers. A pause, brief but heavy. The cameras flash again, catching the moment like lightning frozen in time. He steps away, but not far. For the rest of the set, he stays closer to the edge of the stage than usual, glancing down at her often. Each look drawing more gasps from the crowd as the show nears its end. Elvis slips one final message to her, something the microphones don't catch, leaving the audience desperate to know what he said. The concert winds down with thunderous applause, but the energy feels different. Fans don't just cheer the hits, they whisper about what they've witnessed. Elvis stopping everything for a woman in the fourth row. Ushers later said people left in tears, clutching their ticket stubs like relics. The show ended that night, but Elvis's gesture was only beginning. Backstage, Elvis lingers longer than usual. According to some who worked the showroom, he asked for her name and address before the lights had even cooled. His words were simple: she's family. Make sure she gets home safe. Security escorted her out quietly, avoiding the rush of fans, but she carried the scarf pressed to her chest the entire way. Days passed, the world moved on. Newspapers reviewed the show with the usual headlines about rhinestones and sold-out crowds. But for one household, something extraordinary arrived. A package, plain brown paper, tied with twine, delivered to her modest doorstep. Inside was a guitar, polished wood, strings shining, with a note scrawled across its body in bold ink. To the girl who believed in me before the world did. Love always, Elvis. Folded between the strings was a photograph, the moment of their embrace, captured mid-tear. Elvis kneeling in front of her, with the spotlight pouring down. Her neighbors recalled how she gasped when she opened it, pressing her hand over her heart. She framed the photo that same day, hanging it on the wall where visitors could see it the moment they walked in. The guitar stayed nearby, a symbol not of fame, but of gratitude. This wasn't a fan gift. It wasn't publicity. It was a reminder that no matter how far he'd come, Elvis Presley never forgot the people who knew him before the glitter, before the crowds. Some say she told friends, he made me feel like Tupelo again, like none of the years had passed. For her family, the memory became more than a story. It was proof that kindness outlives fame. The photo, the scarf, and the guitar became heirlooms, handed down, preserved like sacred artifacts. And for fans who heard whispers of the encounter, it became a legend, one of those stories you repeat not because it's grand, but because it's human. The twist is simple but unforgettable. Elvis Presley, at the height of his fame, remembered a neighbor's kindness and repaid it with something greater than a song. He gave her a place in his story. The curtain may have fallen that night in Vegas, but the echo of that moment never stopped. What did it mean for her family? What does it mean for us? That fame fades, but gratitude, once given, lasts forever. Years later, the scarf remained folded in her drawer, the guitar still polished, the photo still hanging where sunlight touched it each morning. Her children recalled how she'd pause, smile faintly, and say, "He never forgot us." That night in Vegas wasn't about lights or songs. It was about memory, gratitude, and the way kindness circles back when you least expect it. Fame may fade, but compassion leaves an echo stronger than applause. If this story touched you, share it with someone who believes kindness outlives fame. And tell us, what act of kindness will you never forget?